I can't say I never saw it coming. I just wish I didn't.
Sometimes I decide where I should be, and sometimes life it just happens to me. Sometimes I decide where I should be. Sometimes life it just
We love you.
happens.
We miss you. We'll see you soon.
Sometimes I decide where I should be,
Things happen, and I was afraid of something happening to him, like what did happen to him. When Stephen passed away, he was 25 years old, and I felt he had a lot to offer because he was really good with children. A lot of kids in the neighborhood loved him. You know, he'll be at the park, he'll play ball with kids, he'll teach kids to do things and play sports. And he stepped up and was like a big brother to a lot of kids.
One of my favorite memories was when I brought my son home to his house for the first time. He was able to see him. He came running out, and then he ran out. He went to the back seat, and he grabbed my son, took him out of the car seat, and held him in his arms, and didn't let him go for a good 45 minutes. And that was very special to me. The Steven I knew in his youth was always funny, goofy, always had my back. He was my older cousin, more like a brother, always trying to get into some sort of fun trouble, and just the type of brother that anybody would want to have.
The Steven I knew growing up in his youth, big Cowboys fan, Dallas Cowboys. And growing up, I remember him playing video games, especially those horror games like Resident Evil and things like that, and I would just be mesmerized watching him go through those. And, like, we would stay up at night, like drinking like soda and eating candy and whatnot. So he loved spending time with me, kind of just like spending time with the family and his friends. Actually going through my years now in elementary school, middle school, he spent most of his time in prison.
Oftentimes I wonder if I'm supposed to be here.
But every time I saw him, things were different, whether it was his haircut, whether it was the clothes he would wear, or the way he would talk and the shows he would watch. He did grow into somewhat a different person, but deep down inside, he still was the loving, funny jokester that he had always been.
Don't be dumb, use your head, don't be dumb, use your head, don't be dumb, use your head, don't be dumb.
So he was in and out of prison quite a few times. I remember visiting him in juvie. Then I remember visiting him at State and Twin Towers over here in Los Angeles. I saw like a different side to Steven every time he came back. Doing things like staying out late, going to parties, drinking, some drugs, and who knows what else really.
Originally, his first time ever being arrested was for pot, a darn joint, which is legal now. He didn't have any other trouble than that, but because he had gotten in a fight with his girlfriend, he was in jail. And he happened to have a joint in jail that did not belong to him, but he couldn't say who it belonged to, because apparently people will kill you in jail if you tell on them. So after that, little things just kept adding on, things that were really petty that now people wouldn't even get questioned about. They'll be let go. He wouldn't have never been in jail if we had the laws we have right now with marijuana. But it's past is past, and people judge people for their petty past without really knowing the truth.
Did I see a transition in his personality as he grew up and developed, yeah, definitely 100%. Especially going into something like prison. You know, you're in a different environment where your heart and your morale and things like that are going to get tested. Your just your mental fortitude. Just you have to be, you know, a hard dude. He was getting smarter. He got his GED finally in prison. I remember that. Whenever he would come back, he would be more responsible, help around the house, constantly looking for jobs. Just all around he would dress better. He just carried a kind of like a more mature attitude about him, more mature stature.
But he kind of took it to the extent and, you know, went around the wrong people. Yeah, when he came and he showed me certain tattoos that he had, I told him, what is he doing? And, you know, he said it's kind of too late. And he just felt that he was already too deep into it. There was no way out as far as what he had told me. And I would try to convince him that there's always a way out, and he has a lot of family that loved him. And I thought he was switching things up because he talked about, you know, finishing school, doing this, doing that, and, you know, it just didn't go that way.
What do I think pushed him into a lifestyle of crime and narcotics and gang violence? I believe part of it has to do with his father not really being there for him and her brother Frank.
Stephen not having his father growing up, yes, I think it made a lot of things hard for him because I knew he really wanted to have a dad.
He definitely held a lot of anger. Stephen was more vocal and more verbal about it. When Mom met our dad and Stephen was living here, they would clash, and I feel like he just felt like he finally had a father figure to take all this anger out on. So doing things like that, he would leave the house a lot, get kicked out a lot. He's definitely, you know, being around people that he knew from school, maybe just locally, people you see at the park, probably things like that, and started finding all his other homies, and eventually got wrapped up into the lifestyle that they were living because he was kind of pushing himself in that direction subconsciously. Just kind of got sucked into that rabbit hole. I believe that's kind of how that all trickled down.
I love you, and I wish you would have listened to me because I carry that guilt like I wasn't hard enough on you to take you away from all that, or I'll be here. And for that, I feel so guilty because I feel I pushed you more into it for nagging you so much to get away from that. The moment I found out he was shot, I was numb. When I was in the hospital waiting to see how he was, yeah, I had a feeling he was dead because too much time passed by, and for some reason, every time something would happen, I would always have this feeling.
When he got shot, I was worried because obviously that's like my brother, and I was worried that, you know, that worse could happen to him. But I had a feeling that he was going to be able to pull through this because he was a strong kid, strong character, and I knew he was going to be able to get through this.
Stephen passed away at 11:32 p.m. on Sunday, November 7th, 2010.
Like, I lost everything. Like, I lost my own brother. Although he was my cousin, I felt really close to him, probably the closest cousins that was to him, because I always checked on him, I always wrote to him, we always talked on the phone. It sucked. It was probably one of the worst losses it is one of the worst losses I've had.
At first it affected me, made me really angry. I gradually became more of like a jerk, an asshole, towards just about everybody I knew, except for Mom, the last person I wanted to act anything like that towards. On weekends, even weekdays, going out, partying, drinking, got to the point of experimenting with my own drugs, and I started being out on the town more, I guess to like have a good time, kind of get distracted from everything. But still had it in the back of my head. And I was like, all right, Steven told me not to like get too wrapped in these things. So
when he died, I started to drink a lot. I started to drive drunk a lot. I didn't care. I was upset. I'd call my Auntie Vicky or my Auntie Elsa like 2, 3 in the morning after going out or going to a bar, crying, screaming. I'd go to where his plot is and I'll just park outside the gate, just hurting, just upset, angry, wanting to find out who did it. I wish we had more time together. I wish you were around to see my kid grow. You definitely would have been his godfather for many years to come, and I wish you'd be able to be there to see me get married and have more kids, and I just miss him and I love him.
I like talking about the good times because it wasn't always bad. He wasn't, just because he did unfortunately join a gang, he wasn't really a bad person. Yes, he made mistakes like every human being makes mistakes, but that wasn't his life. His life was his family, and he was very giving and very kind.
9644, and tomorrow they're gonna take me to the county jail. So